I'm gonna take everybody off mute. Let me get some energy, y'all. It's Monday, y'all. Let's get it. Hey, let's get it. Woo! Y'all fired up. Yeah, y'all got good energy today. Fired up. You guys officially, we got 9 days left in October. You guys, that's a lifetime. We're in the first start of the fourth quarter, and I'm really, really loving it. We just had our leadership development weekend for all our Herbalife distributors who know what that is. And maybe you don't. It's kind of like a development seminar. We got personal development. We learn more about the products. We learn more about just how to grow ourselves in our business. I'm freaking on fire from it. We had a guy who's been with Herbalife for 22 years who does it along with his wife, and somebody from Venezuela who's doing it for 23, 24 years. And you guys, you got to get around wisdom. Whether you're in Herbalife as a distributor, as a client, whatever you do, always get around wisdom. You know, you might think in our head, she talked about when you start anything, you have the open mind. When you're a kid, you listen to your parents, right? Everything they say is law. Then you go through the adolescent period and you're like, well, I know more than everybody else, right? And you got to always remember that if people are further along the path, there's some things they know that you don't know. They may not know everything, and there may be some things that you know more than them, but there are some things that they know. So really always get around wisdom. That's why I really, acknowledge you guys for jumping on Triple M. Right? You're here to learn. You're here to grow. You're here to get better. You're here to start your week with some fire. So throw in the chat bar where you're from and your name, because I see people literally from all around the country. I see Oklahoma, Los Angeles. I see Texas. I'm seeing Arizona. I'm seeing everywhere, y'all. Fired up. We're here in Miami. So I see Marv from LA, B and Steven from Dallas, Kat from LA, Kyla from Oklahoma. Fired up. Man, look at all the people you guys. Think about it. You guys get to start your week with a group from all over the United States, sometimes international, that are going in a direction of success. You can tell everybody, man, I start my Mondays with this group, man, and we're just on fire. They're like, man, I started my Monday with Fruit Loops, right? They're like, they don't understand why you're getting ahead. Now you can share with them. Why don't you join me one Monday? So I'm not going to take up too much time. I got a video by Jim Rohn. If you've been watching Triple M for a while, we did his 10 rules for success a while back, but there was a second half we never got to. So I'm excited to get to some Jim Rohn, who was, if you don't know, one of the founders of personal development as we know it today. He mentored Mark Hughes, the founder of Herbalife. Also mentored Tony Robbins, if you know who Tony Robbins is. So without further ado, get your notebooks ready. We're going to share some live takeaways at the end, and let's rock and roll. Even Toby's fired up.
Self-reliance. Self-reliance means you simply look mostly to yourself.
Thumbs up if you can hear okay.
It would be nice if someone just gave you this, gave you this, gave you this. It would be nice if everyone did their job exactly as they're supposed to do it. But here's what you've got to do. Primarily rely on yourself. Primarily say, I'm the person responsible. And I will learn the necessary skills so that I can help people learn their skills. If I need lots of people to do certain things to build my organization, that is what I must have. But I've got to be the final backstop. I've got to be the final one that people can rely on. So that if this is missed and this is missed, I can catch up. I can fill the gap. I can do the job. We have to do it when we conduct meetings. We have to do it when we conduct training. We have to do it when we're in a class of just a few. What someone might have missed, we're there to fill in. Self-reliance. Primarily, we're learning to count on yourself. So that you can do this. Never complain and never explain. Your philosophy comes from what you learn, comes from what you know, comes from other people's experiences. 3 ways now to learn from other people. Here's number 1. Learn from what you see. One of the great watchwords of these early years of the 21st century, pay attention. If you just watch, you can pick up clues. Success leaves clues. And if you'll be a better observer of the winners and the losers, those that are doing well and those that are falling behind, and just take mental notes and good notes and say, I'm going to adjust what I'm doing based on what I see. Here's number 2. We learn so much from other people based on what we hear. Here's good advice on that. Be a selective listener. Listen to voices of value that have experience, ideas, reputation, something valuable to share. Now here's number 3. Read all the books. Now there's millions of books, so you can't read all the books. But make this note. Read all the books you need to read to make you as wealthy as you want to be, as healthy as you want to be, as prosperous, as productive, as unique a human being as you want to be. Read all of those books. Don't leave those books go unread. My mentor got me started on my library when I was 25. I got one of the best. If you saw my library, you would be impressed. I haven't read everything in it, but I feel smarter just walking in it, right? My library. I was smart enough to buy it all. Now I got to be smart enough to read it all. Now jot this down. When you do read, you have to sort through what you read and decide which is valuable to try. That's part of the process of learning. Gathering information and sorting through it. One, the information that would apply to you, and what you think would be valuable based on your current philosophical opinion. So read all the books. Our lives are greatly affected by what we learn and what we know. Disgust. Disgust is a negative emotion, but it can have a very positive, powerful effect. Disgust says, I've had it. What an important day that could be. I've had it. Wow. I met a beautiful, powerful, accomplished executive lady in New York. The company invited me to come in. This lady was a vice president, extraordinary lady. I got to know her and I found out her story. I said, how did you get here? Big income. And she never went to college, never went to university. I said, how did you get here? Executive, powerful, income. She said, well, let me tell you part of the scenario. She said, when I was a young mother a few years ago, she said, one day I asked my husband for $10. And he said, what for? She said, before that day was over, I decided I would never, ever ask again. She said, I started studying opportunity, found it, took the classes, put myself through the schools, did the scenario. Now I'm vice president. I make a lot of money. And she said, I kept my promise. I've never, ever had to ask again. It's called a life-changing day. The day you say, enough is enough. Now, if you can add an act to your disgust, it helps. A man takes a shotgun to his car, blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in it, and says, I've driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And then he saves it. He saves it. And later when somebody says, how did you become rich and powerful? He says, let me show you this car. One day I'd had it up to here, I blew it to smithereens. Enough is enough. Powerful. Pessimism, the deadly disease of always looking on the bad side, the problem side, the difficult side, checking all the reasons why it can't be done. The poor pessimist leads an ugly life. He doesn't try to figure out what's right. He tries to figure out what's wrong. He doesn't look for virtue. He looks for faults. And when he finds them, he's delighted. How ugly. This is the poor guy who looks through the window, doesn't see the sunset. He sees the specks on the window. And this is the poor guy, right, who rushes up, takes such leave of his senses. This guy rushes up and he says, I've got 5 good reasons why it won't work. He's so dumb he doesn't know all he needs 1. He's got 5. To the pessimist, the glass is always half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. Why would the same measure affect people 2 different ways? Answer, it all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. There's a subject we don't have time to get into tonight called better thinking habits. One of the major things Shoaff taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Shoaff taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, as you think, so you become. How awesome. When he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and muggings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. You walk around on your financial knees. They call you economic peewee. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library, number one. Somebody says, well, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement. Mr. Shoaff gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind. How important. Stand guard at the door of your mind. And you decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the results.
Thank you so much for watching us. We made this video because Ian Gabriel asked us to.
Man, that was fire. So let's get into some nuggets. What do you got for us?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Woo!
You guys, if you are a client, a preferred member, or a distributor and have yet to try that coffee, it is so freaking delicious.
I'm not even a coffee
He's
guy.
not even a coffee drinker, and he's all over it. It's
I feel
so
the energy.
good, you guys. Like, bomb. It has like this nice, creamy, smooth taste. I love it. So some of my takeaways from today, I loved how Jim Rohn said that our lives are affected by how we think things are. You know, a lot of the times, I know for me in the past, I used to think like things were a certain way, but they really weren't. And because of that, it would put me in these like sticky, icky, not so great situations because of the way that I understood and like took things on. And so with that, like, it's so important that we are continuously aware of the things that we're thinking all throughout the day, you know, because really it's our thinking that shapes absolutely everything. You know, everything starts with thoughts, and like, it's very literal. Like, everything that we see right now, like with our very own eyes, with Zoom, with a computer, with a journal, with this pen, like, before it even existed, it existed in somebody's mind, you know. And when you start to really like think about that, it's just so powerful how everything starts inside of our mind. And I love how Jim Rohn, like at this very end of the section, he kept on talking about like, our thoughts are really what creates absolutely everything. Like, what is it every single day that like, how do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself? You know, and that's one of the things, like for me, like even growing up, I always had this belief that somehow like I wasn't enough. No matter what I did in my life, like it was not enough. And because of that, I lived like my life through not enough for a very, very long time. And it was costing me so much, you know, in my relationships, in myself, like in the way that I was being. It was like this constant thing of like, not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. And finally, like I was able to identify that thing, and I realized like, wow, I had been living my life this way. And think right now for yourself, like, what are some of the thoughts that you think about yourself, and how is it affecting your life? How is it affecting who you are? How is it affecting your confidence, your belief, like the way that you take action? Because really, like, no matter what it is that you're striving for, whether it's to be like if you are a distributor, if you want to be a successful distributor, and if you want to like take this on as a opportunity, it's really going to come down all to your beliefs. It's all belief. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, like you're right. Like inside of Herbalife, for those that are Herbalifers, right? For instance, there's qualifications every single month. There's qualifications every single year, whether it be for the VIP events, whether it be for the vacations, whether it be for higher levels in the marketing plan, like promotions within the team, like whatever it is, right? And the minute that these promotions get released, like what is it that you think to yourself? Like for us, you guys, we already know we're going to qualify for absolute everything. That's just the belief, right? Like why would we even disqualify ourselves from not qualifying? And if you're not qualifying for things, ask yourself, like, am I the one that's disqualifying myself from qualifying for everything that's available for me? And if it's so, then you have to go inside of your head and inside of your beliefs and start to really challenge yourself and see where are these things coming from, and where in your life did you learn that, like, this is who you are and this is the way things are? Like, no, because every single day you get to choose the way that you think, the way that you act. And the more that you start to believe in yourself and the more that you start to really like change your thinking, your whole life can change. So
I like that. I want to piggyback off that because I think that's what really's made a big difference for Roxy and I in our journey as Herbalife distributors and in our health results, is you got to think about what kind of person you think you are, right? So this is one tip. If, you know, you've got a new health result, or you see a body type that you want, or if you're an Herbalife distributor, you see maybe the Herbalife vacation, or you see maybe your team has a promotion, or, you know, we have the new beginning of the year qualifications for some extra cash as distributors. You got to see, what you tell yourself, that's first, but also you got to have this mindset if you want to be successful. I'm going to qualify, but not just I'm going to qualify in this little clouds and, oh, it's all great. I'm going to qualify because I'm going to put everything into it. I'm going to put everything into what I'm passionate about, what I commit to. And if you really ask yourself, hey, if I put everything into it and I don't qualify, you, I think, would still be happy with yourself because you know you did all you could do. You did all you could do, because all you can do is all you can do. Now, this is where the mishap happens. Some people say, I'm going to qualify, and then they don't do all they can do. If you really added up the hours in the day, the hours in the week, and the hours in the month, they're putting in very few hours. It's probably because they didn't believe enough, but you've got to short circuit that belief with two things. And this is where your effort comes in. So nobody can give you the effort, and nobody can judge your effort because you know your effort. Effort is not genetic. And effort is not your skin color, and effort is not your gender, and effort is not your age. Effort is your being. So these are two things. Write these down. Number one, what you feed your mind with. That is number one, going to determine what you believe. Like Jim Rohn said, stand guard at the door of your mind. If you were to listen to a personal development every single day for the next year, imagine how different your life would be. But if you listen to, we popping bottles, we got girls, and we got this, and what do you think your life is going to be about? I'm just being honest, because there was a time in my life where I would wake up in the morning and I couldn't be in silence. I had to have the music on. I remember that time. I was like, I can't even be in the morning without music. It was so odd to me. And I would put on music, and I would just put on whatever sounded good. I like the beat, or it had a good catchy rhythm, not what it was saying. So number one, you got to get conscious of what you're being poured into. It's like your garden. Because if you're pouring in thoughts of you can do it, you got this, you can make it happen. That's why if you look at people on the team as distributors and as clients, the ones that do the best are the ones that stay plugged in. Why? They're close to the group that says you can do it. You got this. You can make it happen. That's the messages they're hearing every day. So number one is what you feed your mind with. Number two, this is really important. Who's in your proximity? Meaning who's around you, right? This is why in Herbalife as a distributor, we talk about the importance of VIP. VIP means you worked hard and qualified by your production as a distributor to be around the high producers. But this also goes around if you're in the gym. For example, we have a great gym here at our building. We live in a nice condo building. You know, most people here are retired. We're like the anomalies here, right? When you work hard in Herbalife, there's amazing things, disclaimer, right? So it's an amazing gym, very comfortable, ocean view, beautiful. I'm not saying this to say good for us. I'm saying this to say in there, we're probably some of the most fit people. Not because we're just so super fit, it's because of the demographic, right? We're some of the most fit people. So there's not a lot of push. In contrast, we kept hearing about this gym that our friends that are also Herbalife distributors, top 1% of the president's team, talk about this spot called Legacy. Man, I work so hard, I got to take a nap after. I'm clowning him for taking a nap. I'm like, nap time, bro? He's like, bro, you come to this class, you're going to know why. I'm like, let's go check this spot out. We walk in immediately, I can tell why. There's athletes training. There's musicians training. There's Nicky Jam, if you know, reggaeton training. There's top trainers, like people like flipping tires, working hard, like just the energy. And I don't say it because it's like, oh, we're fit. We need to be only with fit people. It's but because who you're around is going to push you. Immediately, I said, yo, we got to get a membership here. We don't have to pay for our gym here. It's free. Why are we going to drive and pay a membership that's not cheap? Most people ever paid for a gym ever. Because who you're around is important. Write this down on your paper. Proximity is power. But this is a key with proximity that they don't teach you. You got to pursue it. You're not going to sit in your living room on your couch and get people around you that are powerful. That's not how it's going to happen. You've got to get out there and you've got to pursue the proximity. You've got to go to where people that are striving and succeeding are at. That's at the Herbalife events. If you're a distributor, you can never miss that. That's where the people that are moving are going. If you're looking for health results, find some of the places in your city where the most passionate people about their fitness go. Now, you might go in there and you might feel uncomfortable. And that's all right. Nobody said it's bad to feel uncomfortable. Now, it's bad if you feel uncomfortable and don't do anything about it. But I guarantee if you keep going there for a year, you're not going to look the same. Right? You might be looking in your client chats and be like, well, everybody looks more fit than me. Okay, feel that uncomfortable and do something about it and stay in there. Stay in there. That's the biggest difference is, so I gave you a couple of things, right? Number one, what you pour into your mind creates your beliefs. Number two, who you're around. And for number two, you got to pursue the power. You got to pursue to get around it. Now, I'm naturally more introverted. I want to stay to myself, and I'm like, yo, if people don't come say hi to me, I'm not going to say hi to them. I got to get out of that mindset. I've got to go say hi to people. I got to go say what's up. I got to go say, hey, how's it going? I got to go meet people. It actually takes effort. But you guys, this is a key you got to understand about how our universe is created. Our universe is going to mirror back to you what you give it. If you're in a shitty mood and you give out shitty vibes, you're probably going to have a shitty day. It's just the way the universe is. It's kind of like looking in a lake and wondering why you see your face. If you want to feel better, if you want to do better, if you want to have power, you know, connections and be around, you got to give it, you got to pursue it, and you got to first be it. You want to be around hungry and driven and inspired people, first be hungry, driven and inspired, and give that to people. Hi, what's up? Be the different person around who you are. What you give is then going to be reflected back to you. But you've got to make the effort again to give it first before it's there. That's the key. So fired up. Let's see. Let's get some quick takeaways. Let's see who's ready to drop some nuggets on us. I see B from Dallas. Let's get it. B, give us a takeaway.
Hey guys, so this was awesome. This is my first time actually plugging in with you guys. I really liked it. It's a lot more interactive than I expected it to be, which is awesome. That's the best part about it, actually, that I liked. The biggest takeaway that I can say that I got from Jim Rohn was where he said that you learn by watching people. You learn from what you hear, and also being selective with what you hear, so you can learn the right things and not the wrong things, like Aubrey was saying, with the type of music that you listen to. And then also read all the books you need to read, but learning how to sort through all the information that you get. Because sometimes you're just going to read and read and read, and then you're going to have this whole like world of knowledge, but you're not going to know how to apply it if you never go back to it and like sort it out. So I thought that was very powerful. And the learning by watching is something that I've actually implied in my life and in my business, being a distributor, because you look at the people who are in the position that you want to be, and you watch what they're doing. You try to duplicate that, and also just stay true to yourself, but you can pick up positive things and positive actions and positive work ethics that other people do and apply it to yourself, so it can help you grow as an individual. So that was my biggest takeaway. And also the word just discuss. When you have that feeling of disgust, I've had it, that can be the most powerful day in your life. And I recently experienced that. So hearing that and, it being reiterated to me was very, very powerful.
Fire. Love it. Absolutely. Who you're around, emulate the people you want to, grow as in their direction, and definitely discussing can be powerful. Fired up. Let's get next. Kat, what takeaway you have for us?
Actually, it's pretty much almost the same. I like to discuss enough is enough. When you kind of reach that point where you're just like, I'm done. Like, you need to make a change. You've been complaining for so long, and now it's time to see some action. Like, I think that is great. And then it falls into self-reliance. Like, you have to rely on yourself to keep yourself up and going every single day and keep going. And by doing that is by thinking rich. So being positive, being, just feeding your mind with so much information, and just self-development is huge.
Love it. Powerful stuff. Let's get it. Let's get one more. Anthony, give us a takeaway. I took you off mute. He's at work. I like it. He's plugged in anyway. I like it. All right, Keith, give me one real quick. Keeper, I took you off mute. Go ahead.
Hey, so, one of the biggest things for me was being around the people that you want to be around of, and like it's your influence. We were just having this conversation with our son yesterday. Just making sure you're being around the people that you want to be around.
I love it. Being around who's going to take you where you want to go, because everybody influences you. You really see it with kids, right? I have younger brothers and sisters, and like you wish you could place them with the people you want to place them with, right? Mm-hmm. But then you just got to be that influence on them. Never forget that you are also an influence. So fired up, you guys, man. What a start to the week. I feel it already, you guys. 9 days left in October. Go for those goals. All gas right now. I'm going to take everybody off mute. Let's get some energy. Let's go. Happy Monday, y'all. Boom.